Everybody, I'm excited to be able to come up here and talk about communion. I'm going to share out of John chapter 21 if you want to turn there. But this time of year, I kind of regularly am extra focused on the cross, I feel like, because I was baptized and started to really be a Christian in 2006. And then in 2010, I had a lot of family situations happen, and a young cousin died of cancer and all kinds of different medical things. And I graduated in college in 2009, which was the financial crisis, and I wasn't able to find a job that I was looking for, right when I got out of school, and I felt like life was just kind of beating me down, and I let that get in the way of my walk with God, and I kind of walked away from God and denied God for about a year. And when I came back and was restored to the church, it was May 1st of 2011, which we're coming up on May 1st, which is also my wedding anniversary now. So it's kind of cool how God has turned that in. It'll be 3 years of being married now. But it's just something that I like to reflect on this time of year. It was great. We had some of the guys over at my place last night, and Steve and Connor were there, and there was a lot of people talking about their stories and how they came to God. And it just, I feel like, made me extra grateful just thinking about the cross and thinking about the fact that, not only did Jesus die to save me when I didn't know God at all, but then, even once I knew God and willingly turned my back on God, He still has that same heart. And I want to read in John 21, kind of where Jesus is reinstating Peter. I want to talk a little bit about that. John chapter 21, verse 15 says, "When they had finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter, 'Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?' 'Yes, Lord,' he said, 'you know that I love you.' Jesus said, 'Feed my lambs.' Again, Jesus said, 'Simon, son of John, do you love me?' He answered, 'Yes, Lord, you know that I love you.' Jesus said, 'Take care of my sheep.' The third time he said to him, 'Simon, son of John, do you love me?' Peter was hurt because Jesus asked him for the third time, 'Do you love me?' He said, 'Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you.' Jesus said, 'Feed my sheep. Very truly I tell you, when you were younger, you dressed yourself and went where you wanted. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hands, and someone else will dress you and lead you where you do not want to go.' Jesus said this to indicate the kind of death by which Peter would glorify God. Then he said to him, 'Follow me.'" And I just think of kind of I try to put myself in Peter's, place in this situation, and just think of the gentleness and the grace of Jesus in this moment. That, Peter, I can't imagine what's going through Peter's head, because, and I like how Jesus starts off, "Do you love me more than these?" Because you look at Matthew 26 and in the garden before, Jesus is taken away, Peter seems to kind of feel that way, like, "No, I love you more than these other disciples. Like, even if all these people walk away from you, I will never walk away from you." And then, right after that, Jesus says, "You're going to do it, 3 times before the rooster crows." And then, that happens. And I can't imagine the weight that Peter's feeling. He's excited that Jesus is back, but then there's this, I feel like I would be feeling a weird elephant in the room of Jesus looked at me, Jesus saw me, and I did this, and I can't, just being really hard on himself. I know that when I walked away from God, I felt like that was one of the barriers to me. I felt like God was doing the work, reaching out to me to try to bring me back. But that was one of the barriers in my mind, was like, man, how do I go back and face God? Or how do I go back and face, the other disciples, knowing that this is where, I left, this is where I left off. But that's not the way Jesus sees it all. Jesus, is like, just follow me again. And that's what he wants. He wants them to feed his sheep. He's ready to reinstate kind of Peter back to his position. The way he says, Simon, son of John, is the same way he refers to him, the same words when he tells him, you're the rock on which I'm going to build my church. And he calls him Peter. And he's bringing him back to this is the vision that I had for you, and I still have that vision for you. This is still what I want you to be. Just follow me. And, it says Peter was hurt, but, he's like, you can see my heart. You know that I love you. And I think I'm just grateful that God is not a vengeful God. He doesn't hold those things against us, but he is the father in Luke 15 who, the prodigal son's like, I'm not worthy to be your slave anymore, your servant. Let me be one of your hired men. And he's like, no, we're going to celebrate because my son was dead, but he's alive again. He is ready to take us back. He's ready to celebrate with us, immediately. And I'm just grateful for the cross, that those sins are not held against us, that Jesus' blood covers over that, and he is immediately ready to take us back if we're ready to follow him. And that's what I've been thinking about, especially this time of the year, with the conversations we were having last night. I'm just grateful to be here this morning with all of you because of Jesus. And let's bow our heads and pray. Dear God, thank you for who you are, God. Thank you for your mercy. Thank you for the cross. Thank you for coming down and taking the punishment so that we don't have to, God. Thank you for not holding, not treating us as our sins deserve or holding our sins against us, God, but being, truly, forgetting our sins to a degree, God. That you are ready to dream with us. You have never given up the future that you want us to have and the relationship that you want us to have with you. That even when we walk away from you, God, that you are right there beside us. You are reaching out to us. You are waiting for us to come back to you. And you're ready to celebrate with us, God, that you've taken your lost sheep and that you have, found them again. And, your son was dead and he's alive again. Just to see, what Peter went on to do after this moment, God, is incredible. And the fact that he, ultimately died, on a cross as well, that he was willing to, go to that extreme for your kingdom and all the miracles that he did in your name after this time. I thank you for the opportunity to be able to continue to follow you, to continue to pray to you, continue to dream and do great things for you with the time I have left on this earth. I just thank you for the cross, and it's your son, Jesus' name.